Welcome to Innovation Rebels, the podcast where we shatter conventional thinking and challenge the status quo in pursuit of groundbreaking business ideas and transformative changes for humanity and the Earth. Join us for exclusive insights, inspiring interviews, and behind-the-scenes stories from visionary entrepreneurs to eco-friendly tech industry pioneers who are reshaping entire sectors to impact investors. Our guests are rule breakers, risk takers, and trailblazers who have defied the odds to achieve extraordinary business success on their own terms. Each episode, we dive deep into the minds of the most audacious business leaders who refuse to accept the limitations imposed by tradition and instead embrace disruption as a catalyst for progress. Our podcast is tailor-made for visionary entrepreneurs and forward-thinking individuals who crave unconventional wisdom and seek to revolutionize their industries. If you're tired of the same old strategies and ready to challenge the boundaries of innovation, Innovation Rebels is your platform for inspiration, insight, and empowerment. And now please welcome Swanette Kuntze, your host and guide on this journey into the uncharted territories of future thinking and innovation.
Hello and welcome to my podcast, Innovation Rebels. My name is Swanette and I'm your host. Today my guest is Len Bland. He is the CEO of Nanogas Environmental. So Len, welcome to my show.
Thank you, Swanette.
Yeah, it's a pleasure having you because I know that you are an inspiration for the audience with all your wisdom and experience. So let us know a little bit how you became involved into this amazing project called Nanogas Environmental and a little bit of your background.
So I started my career as a CPA, great financial foundation. Shortly after that, I got my MBA from Kellogg, Northwestern's Graduate School of Business. I liked information systems, so I helped companies like Unisys and Kraft Foods automate their business processes. Then I had the opportunity to go to work for a Silicon Valley software vendor. I ended up being vice president of sales for a couple software companies. About 19 years ago, I was invited to raise money for an AI company, and I found my true passion. I love providing insight that leads to entrepreneurial growth. So I started preparing entrepreneurs for investment, providing strategic financial and communications insights that help them raise millions. And in that time, I found a world-changing invention I just had to be part of. That became the basis for Nanogas Environmental.
Yeah, and I think that this is not only having a very strong business background, but it is also like having this feeling for what could be a good business and what also would help the world to improve, because this is also very much mission-driven, as I understand.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. We really believe in making the world a better place. We think you can do that while having a successful business and helping your clients have successful businesses.
Yeah, so let us know a little bit about what is Nanogas Environmental about, because I think this is such an innovative technology that most of the people don't have any idea what can this be and how can this solve the problems we do have at the moment. Please share a little bit about that.
So we clean dirty water with tiny bubbles. So using nothing but air, oxygen or nitrogen, we clean sewage ponds and lagoons, we clean oil industry wastewater, and we even stimulate oil wells using that water so that the oil industry doesn't have to use as much fresh water.
So when I look around, we have a lot of problems to have clean water in a lot of areas, as the water is polluted with not only oil, but other toxic substances, or even if it is the wastewater that comes from our homes, this is not drinking water anymore. So how do you improve this water? Like you said, like nano bubbles, air goes through and then, wow, the toxic substances disappear. Let us know about that.
Well, we actually changed the way water works. So we put in hundreds of billions of bubbles per liter. And when you think about that, what's different is the bubbles are so small that their buoyancy is less than the surface tension of the liquid. So that means they stay in solution. You think about bubbles rising, well, these don't rise. But then you try and see them and you don't see any bubbles. The water still looks clear when we put our bubbles into it. It's so that changes the way water works. So one of the ways it changes the way water works is by being able to stay in the water, keep the gas, keep oxygen in the water to support beneficial microbes that eat up waste. And so this is what we do for ponds and lagoons. Usually they're struggling because all the oxygen is out, and you know that's happening in the pond and lagoon and actually in waterways around the world, because now you have algae buildup on top of the waterways and you have dead zones. There's no oxygen in that water, and so the beneficial microbes can't do their work. So now we're putting all these tiny bubbles in there that stay right where we put them, right where the organic material is that microbes can consume and clean things up. So that's one way. Then for oil industry wastewater, and sometimes for all kinds of wastewater, you know how you get that stinky egg-like smell from the sewage sometimes? Well, that could be hydrogen sulfide and other corrosive chemicals like iron sulfide are found often in the oil industry. Well, when we put in these tiny oxygen nanobubbles, they're highly reactive. And so they actually offset the hydrogen sulfide and the iron sulfide, and they remove those. So we get rid of the smell and we get rid of the corrosive chemicals. Then there's a third aspect, which is, so we talked about biological and chemical. There's a third aspect which we change the water, and that's physical. So we're putting so much gas in the liquid, we actually make the water lighter. And so now those tiny little bits of sand or grit called suspended solids that are stuck in the water, they become heavier than the water and they drop down. And at the same time, when we use nitrogen nanobubbles, it acts like a solvent. And so any of the oils in the water, the fats, oils, and greases, they rise to the top for removal and actually can become part of the economy instead of being thrown away.
So this already sounds amazing, because as we look into our environment, we can see all these kind of problems. And do you see that, especially also, for example, for the pollution with nanoplastic, this can be for help?
You know, we haven't targeted nanoplastics, PFAS. We think there's other solutions that can actually apply to that and are making good progress. But if we look around the world, whether it's India or Africa or here in the US, we see challenging, our freshwater bodies are being challenged, and there's only so much fresh water. We need that to survive. And, you know, for example, the U.S. Environmental Protection Agency lists 7,000 of a certain type of lagoon, and half of those are regulatory challenged. They're not cleaning up properly. And we know that's happening everywhere. And the warmer it gets, the bigger the challenge, because the less oxygen will stay in the water. So we think we really have a mechanism to help us keep our waters clean.
And is this kind of a device you can carry around, so bring it to the lagoon, or is it that you need the water come to a certain kind of, I don't know, manufacturing place or plant?
Yeah, our devices, our systems, our solutions are mobile. So we take them out to a lagoon, but then, you know, after we clean up the lagoon, wouldn't it be nice if it never happened again? And so we'll put a smaller maintenance system to continually monitor and keep track and make that lagoon stays in balance in the future.
Does it have any negative impact, for example, on the living beings, like if you have fish, for example, in this lagoon. You said already it is supportive for the microbes to grow and to do their work and to clean the water. But what about fish swimming around?
Fish just love it. So we actually did a test on aquaculture on growing largemouth bass fingerlings. And we compared it to the next best available way to put more oxygen in the water, because that's how you get those fingerlings to grow. And what we saw was 26% more fingerlings by weight at the end of our test that were put into the pond to grow into full-size fish. And that was from reducing their mortality, so there were more fish at the end of the day, but it was also from increasing total food efficiency. So if you think about our food supplies, this makes better use of our food supplies and was able to grow each pound of fish with less food.
So for them, this is kind of like a wellness spa when you come in.
They love it. As the technology was being developed, they went out to India to treat a river that was flowing Mumbai. It was just very stinky and full of sewage. And the test wasn't going to fix the whole river, but it was enough to get rid of the stink. And where the oxygen was being applied, fish were just jumping out of the water. They loved it.
This sounds amazing. Like if you come with a device, the fish already, call their neighbors, come on, this will be like having a nice spa time.
That's right. That's exactly it.
Yeah. Do you see any challenges at the moment bringing this really amazing product into the market? Because if you share what you're sharing, there would be like millions of people, the governments and all the administration and businesses saying, oh, no, bring it to me. So do you see any challenges at the moment?
Yeah, 100%. So it's new technology, and whenever you're asking people to make a change or try something new, they say, oh, yeah, I tried something else and that didn't work. I don't believe things work anymore. So you have to convince people that it works. You have to, and one of the biggest challenges for our environment is who's going to pay. So every summer people come to me and say, hey, there's red tide algae around Florida. You always talk about what you can do. You can clean this up. Yes, we can clean this up. Who's going to pay us to do it? So we can't afford to do it. We're not a charity. Uh, so we need your help, and we need the help of governments to be able to pay for things like that. But in the industries we're in, we're saving municipalities and we're saving oil companies a lot of money. So we went to treat a 300 lagoon for a 300 home community in West Texas. It had algae so thick bugs were walking on top of it. It was building up sludge islands. It was clearly out of balance. And they were told it was going to cost them $1 million to dredge the lagoon. And for less than 20% of that, we were able to treat the lagoon, clean it up, and restore it so that wildlife came back to part of their body of water.
Yeah, so the quality that of the water that comes out after the treatment, you say that it is almost back to like drinking water? Like, is it this kind of quality?
Well, it can be close to that. So whenever you treat wastewater, you want to get it to the point where it could be, let's say, applied for agriculture. If you want to get it to drinking water, you may want to do some additional treatment. And so, for example, there is wildlife living off this water, but you may want to do some additional treatment and to turn it into drinking water. Our drinking water plants, they might use a biocide before giving us the water. In other words, they're going to kill off all the bacteria. They might do some flocculation to drop out any grit or suspended solids that's left in that water. So it could be taken to drinking water. You might want to go through a few additional steps. Now, when you consider the oil industry wastewater that we make reusable, that's generally not drinkable. The oil, they're pumping water out of the ground. This is from geologic formations in the ground, and it's typically highly salty, sometimes 10 times saltier than the ocean. And so desalinate, and they don't desalinate because it's just too expensive. And so our goal there is to get the water to be reused by the oil industry instead of using fresh water. And they use 500 billion gallons of fresh water every year.
Wow. When you imagine that this kind of bringing the oil out of the soil or out of the earth takes so much water that is clean water, while at the same time in other areas people don't even have drinking water at all, or very, very less, then it becomes even more important to see how this process can be like a circle, like a sustainable way of using the water.
It could be taken to fresh water. It could be taken to drinkable water. It's just that we need to understand what's in that water, and then we need to plan out processes. So after we're done pre-treating, then you'd have to go through a desalination process, which again could be much more expensive than just desalinating ocean water, for example. And then you might want to analyze the water to make sure there was nothing else, that no other salts down there in the geology that are dangerous. If you go deep enough, some of that water might contain radioactive materials, and you certainly wouldn't want to be drinking that.
So I'm living here at the moment on a beautiful island called Madeira, and we have like the luxury that we have spring water in the mountains. And if you see this kind of quality of the water and I don't know if this is the right word, but livelihood, the energy that is in the water, this is so different from water that has been pumped through pipes and is already kind of dead, or even if like other chemicals are put into the water to make it drinkable, then understanding it is important to see what different kind of qualities water can have. And especially if it then goes into like being wastewater from homes, or even like from production, like the oil production or something like that. Do you see like how you can also impact like the energy in the water?
Yeah, I love how you put that. And while you were talking, I was thinking what we're really doing is we're bringing life back to the water. So when you create, when we create these nanobubbles, each one actually carries a little negative charge, an extra electric charge. And so sometimes we say we energize the water. And the charge is the same for all the nanobubbles. It's a negative charge. So think about two south poles of magnets trying to come together. They don't come together. And that's why the bubbles spread out and stay separate, because it would be like two ends, same ends of the magnet trying to come together. So they don't create bigger bubbles. But the cool thing is they have this extra charge, and that's energy. That's energy that could be used to clean up the water. That's energy that could be used. You know, what was interesting about the fish is that we reached the same measured levels of oxygen in both the comparative treatment and in ours. So I think it's that energy that was really helping the fish grow better.
Well, this already sounds so amazing what you're sharing. Can you go a little bit deeper without, of course, sharing your patterns, but how this really works? Like you said, these are nanobubbles and they have this negative electric charge and they go through the water. But I'm really interested to get some more details, of course, without sharing your patterns.
You know, we're one of a number of ways of making nanobubbles, and you could go find people claiming to make nanobubbles. Even watch out, make sure they're really doing it. But you could do it with membranes. You could do it with cavitation. Membranes get clogged up with dirty water, and that's why that's our focus. Uh, the cavitation, meaning breaking apart the bond between the oxygen and the hydrogen in the water to create, that creates bubbles, it creates heat, it can create other issues, maintenance issues. What we do is we put the fluid under pressure, we mix in gas, it normally goes in under pressure, we can mix in more gas. And then we go through a special process with our mechanical process, where we could just pass the dirty water through our system and it's not gonna clog up. And we get the nanobubbles to stay in solution as the pressure is reduced. And so once the water is released into the regular water stream or used, the nanobubbles are in there and they stay in there. So the cool thing that we do in the markets we're really targeting are dirty water markets, uh, uh, wastewater, sewage lagoons, oil industry wastewater, and other markets we could think about in the future are things like mining and tailings, and think about, maybe we've never done testing on it, but things like coal ash ponds and things like that we might be able to have an impact on.
So this is definitely, again, a wide range of opportunities where this nanogas environmental technology could be of help. And
Yes.
So you shared some examples, but I would like to understand a little bit more, like what was the situation before, and why then you're going through the process and the situation after that. Do you have some examples that you could share?
Yeah, do you want, I didn't think about using videos, but let me, and there are some on our website. I recommend you take a look at it. That's nanogasenvironmental.com. We talked about the sewage lagoon already as an example. Let's talk about oil industry wastewater. So different water comes out of the ground out of each oil well. And most people don't understand this. They think, wait a second, that's because I put water in, right? Actually, the oil is sitting in ponds of water, in lakes of water that are underneath the ground. And depending on the country, there's little or more water or less water with that oil. In the US, we average 7 times more water than oil. So the only reason they're called oil companies is because that's what they're selling. What they're really doing, what they really are, is water companies. So that water, when it comes out, can have a variety of different challenges. First of all, the process of bringing the oil and the water out encapsulates and trains some oil in the water. So you want to get that out to make the water reusable. It also may include hydrogen sulfide or iron sulfide, which are hazardous corrosive chemicals that can be difficult to treat. And we find that we've gone out to existing treatment centers. Those are multi-million-dollar saltwater disposal wells, where they're going to put the water back into the ground where it didn't come from, and that's been increasing the amount of earthquakes. So we've gone out there and we've seen they build this multi-million-dollar facility. They use a lot of chemicals, and they still have this black water that's left that's got iron sulfide in it. And when they put it in the ground, it's increasing their maintenance. So we can treat that water. And what happens is potentially we don't even need that whole multi-million-dollar facility, or we can make that work better. But when we treat that water, we take something that maybe has oil in it. We're going to get all that, maybe has some suspended solids, but has this corrosive chemical, we offset that chemical and we remove it. And so now that water, the oil industry, companies like ConocoPhillips have said, hey, if you can remove the oil, remove the hydrogen sulfide and iron sulfide, drop out suspended solids like grit and sand, we can reuse that oil for our water flooding or for our drilling programs instead of using fresh water. And so that's our goal with oil industry wastewater. And so we've done that. We've cleaned up the water. It's really amazing because we're using nothing but oxygen or nitrogen from the air. And then with oil well stimulation, we talked about the way that we're giving life to the water. And with oil well stimulation, it's really that life, it's that energy we're putting into the water that actually brings out more oil because those nanobubbles are more attractive to the rock than the oil is. And so it actually kicks off the oil from the rock, enables the oil to flow more easily, and we recover more oil. So we've gone out to applied our nanobubbles to stimulate oil wells, and we've seen improvements for anywhere from 2 times the production of the well to 6 times the production of the well. So the cool thing is, Swanette, is that we're helping the oil companies with these older wells so they don't have to do new drilling. We're helping them recover oil, and yet we're only using air to do that, and we're not putting down any more dangerous chemicals. And in that sense, we think there's a potential for us to eliminate any PFAS that the oil industry might be using to even create their oil wells.
Yeah, so, and I hear that this is definitely something that will bring in more sustainability into all these processes that have been kind of damped in the last years. So looking at the ESGs, for example, getting clear on how to improve different industries, this is really a huge step for supporting this.
Yeah, it's one of the challenges for us is that, we all care about the environment. And sometimes that means you want to say, let's shut down every oil well. Well, the problem is right now with the way the world economy works, if you say, let's shut down all oil production, you've just said, let's crash the world economy. So let's figure out all these other alternative energies so we can replace oil, but that's going to take a while. And until that happens, let's produce our oil in a more sustainable way, and that's what we're about.
So I would like to jump a little bit back to where we started. What is it that really makes you passionate about these kind of projects? And I know this is only one that you are involved in, but what really makes you so passionate about being involved in this and leading this kind of projects?
Well, I love healing the world, but it kind of goes back to, my why, my basic personality. And that is, I always loved being around engineers, computer geeks, those types of folks. I wasn't the one that did that engineering work. I was the one, they were all my friends. And so that was true when I was in high school, and now those people are the inventors. And so I love being around the inventors. I love being around folks, scientists that really understand the stuff and make our world a better place.
So it is also for your own inspiration, like understanding that there is something more than what we already have here on this planet that can support humanity and all living beings and this earth, of course, by using these inventions and innovations.
Yeah, and I want to see the world a better place. And so I see it's not just Nanogas has given me connection to other environmental companies, whether they're doing things that could make hydrogen in an economic way, clean hydrogen, or whether they're doing things that could be waste to energy projects, or whether it's solar or wind. I see all kinds of environmental opportunities as kind of as part of what I'm doing. And I see, normal businesses as well, and I like providing insight that leads to their growth. But I'm particularly attracted to advanced technologies to make the world a better place.
You shared about networks. How important are networks for you, like bringing in the right people, being connected to so many amazing personalities and the system disruptors?
I love being able to put people together so that 2 and 2 adds up to 5, right? They help each other, and so it seems like those are some of the best opportunities. So whether we're going to be having a conversation with one of these inventors and amazing entrepreneurs who's working on a green fund, working on how to do financial products better, and I've introduced people from Germany, amazing scientists, and I'm introducing you to those kinds of people because I think I see the opportunity when people get together. I see the opportunity to create more.
Yeah, I cannot agree more on that, because as I can see also in my network, I'm surrounded by so many amazing people, and like they sometimes only can focus on their expertise, but as soon as these people come together and they share their vision and they understand, oh, if we start co-creating something, then this will be like really an exponential growth of impact what we can create here. And especially having people from very different disciplines together, like the people from finance, of course, business development, where you also have your expertise, the scientists and innovators, but also perhaps people that are more the ones that bring in the spiritual side, for example.
That's right. And I see that going on in my own life. My wife told me, look, if you get that little feeling in the back of your head that you need to do something, don't ignore it. So that's hard for me. I try to pay attention to it. She's much more sensitive than I am. But I try to pay attention to that. But I think we all benefit. We had years ago, we had a demonstration on particularly nasty water in the oil industry. And we had a PhD scientist who's written, 50 different papers for the oil industry on how to improve things. And he saw what we were doing. He was amazed, and he's introduced group after group after group that that together we can make, have even better solutions.
For me, as you know, and my audience already knows, I also have a very strong scientific background and also a business background. But for me, it's also that as I can connect to the quantum field, there is this kind of sensing with my sixth sense open, what is already there in the emerging future that wants to be manifested. So seeing that at this time, we are in the age of Aquarius, and this means the age of innovation, of technology, and really moving forward with new inventions, but also Pluto is in the house of Aquarius, which means this is hands-on, so getting things done. This is more like the masculine energy. And this means we will have a massive transformation in the next years regarding technology and new innovations. So what do you think about this concept that there is a special time frame for getting things done, for bringing in these new technologies, and then perhaps there's a time frame for other things like evolution of humanity, like spiritual growth, for example?
Well, I think we're heading in that direction. We have to move that fast because we see what's happened with, what we've done with the environment. We have to move that fast, and we have to bring some of these innovations to reality, and we have to all participate in doing that. And I see that happening as well. I think artificial intelligence is absolutely going to help us move faster. And everything we do helps us move faster. So we think of the time, how long it took us to go from the agricultural revolution to the industrial revolution to computing now, maybe AI and some of and quantum physics and quantum computing are going to change how we are. And, I talked to a venture capitalist and they said, yes, we're investing in AI and a lot of the investors are focused on that. But as a venture capitalist, they said, but we're thinking about the next step, and we think space is one of the hottest arenas. And we saw how much technology has already come out of space exploration, the technology that we can use on Earth. And just one example is there was an exploration of making a type of energetic chemical, if you will, in NASA, and they found out it's great for our crops, and I'm advising somebody with that as well. So we see these kinds of technologies coming out of NASA, coming out of space exploration, and helping us here.
Yeah, this is extraordinary to understand that at this time, so many people also get not only the insights, but are able to create new products or services out of that. Because one thing is, to get the wisdom to understand what is possible, to have the patents, but the other thing is really to bring this into a prototype and then, of course, bring this into the market. So as you have been through these processes of having the idea, putting in the energy, and then bringing it into the prototype, and now the next step will be to market it. What do you see are the different challenges while you are like in this stage or this stage or this stage?
Well, like every early stage company, we need investment to really move forward as fast as we can. And I think, people can say, hey, I want us to take the safe approach. I'll just go invest in my savings account or put my money in real estate. But if we really want to make a difference, we may need to take part of our portfolio and put it into alternative investment. That doesn't mean you're necessarily going to lose money. You could be making more money, but it means that you're helping the world advance faster. And that's really interesting. Now, I talk about insights. Maybe this is what you mean when you're talking about the quantum world. I'll listen to a business describe their situation, or I'll think about our business, the businesses I run, and the situation we're in. And I'll be thinking about those, and I'll sleep at night, wake up in the morning, and I'll have an insight, right? Well, where did that come from? Why can I listen and then say, oh, what about this, this, and this? Well, part of it is experience, and part of it is, that's my superpower, right? And I think other people have that superpower, but I think it's all tied into where we can go as a human race.
I think everybody has the possibility to get insights, but most of the people don't listen. As you said, if your wife was advising you, if you have this little voice talking to you, pay attention to that. So I hear often that people tell me, oh, I was under the shower and I got this insight, being in a relaxed state, open-minded, and then something came through. So people can do that. Most people can do that if they are not busy on the outside and not focusing on other things, but really focusing on what wants to be channeled. And then understanding, okay, how can I use this wisdom, bringing together a team and create something out of that? Because normally these insights don't come, these insights come for a reason, because you are the one who has the idea what to do with that, or you know people who know what to do with that. So I think it is important to understand why we are here in this human body at the moment to create something, and what these insights mean for us or for others.
You know, I wondered about, is this going to keep happening to me? So when I started my business Concept Equity Group to help entrepreneurs, I was hired by a medical technology company, and I remember, you know, walking to their business, going up the stairs and saying, oh my God, what happens if I don't have the insight? What happens if I don't come up with something for them? And so we went into our meeting, we started interviewing the management, and it was almost immediate. You know, I started thinking about things that were going to help this business grow and bring an amazing engineer that helped them design their new products, and you know, it happened immediately, and I realized I've just got to accept that this will happen, and it will, and I can rely on it, and I don't have to worry about whether I'll have the insights.
Wow, this is extraordinary. And again, I think that this combination of having insights, having wisdom, having knowledge about different aspects of technology or finance, business development, if this all comes together in one person, then this is really extraordinary. So thank you so much at the moment for being here and sharing this.
You know, like I said, I love hanging around with the inventors and the scientists, and they're the ones that come up with the patents. But but I understand how they work in business, and there was one time we were working on a patent, and I actually said, oh, we need to include something else, and we did. And so I actually got my name on the patent, but I don't consider myself an inventor. I consider myself a connector, a glue, somebody that puts people together and enables things to build.
What are for you like the most joyful moments in business?
I love when I help entrepreneurs, and I've actually been able to help them raise their capital. So, you know, whether it's you know, modular building company that builds the most environmentally sustainable homes anywhere, so you can order your home, have it delivered, have it constructed in a record amount of time, not have to worry about theft and waste. That was exciting, seeing that we were able to help raise some money for them, and we are still helping them. Having, you know, it's when I'm able to help those entrepreneurs. This weekend, I worked with an amazing startup called Strike. You can check it out, a Strike app, and they're helping young professionals create a community that they're comfortable with to help them find meaningful work.
Yeah, and I can imagine that this would also bring in a lot of joy for what I do. Like, I love really to see this kind of transformation, like being in a state that is not fulfilling before, or not bringing the impact before, and then going through the process while I'm changing their perspective with my metanoia mastery system. And then they come out and see like, okay, this is possible. They are in a real realm of possibilities that beyond what they ever could expect. that was not even in their field at that moment. And now they see, oh, this is possible. They have a strong vision and they go for that and really, yeah, quantum leap into what they want to create and manifest here. And for me, it's always like this transformational phase that excites me, this before and after situation. And not only in business, I also attract like cats and dogs, like wherever I am. This is kind of funny, but you can be sure that wherever I am, like a sick cat or dog will cross my way and stop in front of me and say, okay, you are the one to help me through this healing process, through this transformation myself. And then they go back and find a new family and new home when they are healthy. And so this is like the before and after. This is really what, yeah, brings me enthusiasm.
You know, we've been blessed to have 3 Dalmatians, one at a time. The last one just passed, and that was sad. But we had just a wonderful time with the dogs and supporting our family.
Yeah, amazing creatures, like humans as well. Like if you surround yourself with the right people that inspire you, it is the same. Like, they can really make your life joyful and fulfilled as well. And I think there have been also people in your life that inspired you and helped you on your path. Who would that be?
Well, there's no doubt about that. I mean, you know, everybody from my family that influenced me growing up, where, you know, my sister is a musician, and so I sang and still have joy in that. But to, you know, watching my friends learning about business, seeing how it works, and really you know, having wonderful people like a vice president of sales that I work for, that I was able to trust him so much and recognize that he actually had my interest at heart in you know, helping me expand my career. And I love to help people do that as a result of those kinds of experiences.
How do people come to you? Like you said, you are connected with a lot of amazing people, but how do they find you? How do they come to you normally?
So you know, I'm reachable. My website is available, conceptequity.com. Anybody could go there and find me. I love it when people find Nanogas Environmental, and we hired a terrific marketing group that has helped people with lagoons just from all around the U.S. or ponds, or, you know, I have this small body of water, I need to get it treated. We might not be the right solution for them, but we help them get started in the right direction, and so that's delivering traffic for us. But we really need to get out in things like this, podcasts, and help people understand what we're doing. Because if we can bring our next round of capital in $3.5 million, then we can really grow this business fast. We can help the world, help our investors make money, and help our customers make money as well.
Yeah, so this is doing good for the world, and at the same time also generating, money and therefore abundance for the people who are involved.
Yes.
Yes. So last but not least, is there anything that you would like to share that I didn't ask you?
Oh, you know, I'll tell you, Swanette, one of my secret questions that I think I may have asked you on our first call, and if I didn't, no, I did ask you on our first call. I'd love ending in talking with somebody, especially for the first time, by asking them what their proudest moment is. So we could all think about all the projects that we've been involved in everybody's proud of their family, so I kind of have to move over to the projects we're involved in because otherwise, oh, I'm proud of my 3 kids, and you should be, right? But to think about what creates special moments for them, what are you proudest of? And think about that now. And that creates a special memory for people. And it's worthwhile revisiting that as much as you can to get that feeling. And I think that spreads good energy out into the world.
Yeah, absolutely. And especially if you are back in the state, understanding when you have been proud, not only the situation, but you can feel this in your body, then your energy will resonate with other projects, with other situations that are in the same frequency and aligned. And so it's like you become the magnet for more of these situations where you can be proud of when you look back into time and see, okay, this is what I have achieved, this is what I have done as a service for people or for the planet, and this has been my impact, and I can be really proud about having done that and being here.
Right.
Yeah, so again, please share where people can reach out to you. I will also put the links in the show notes so that people can easily click on that and come into contact with you if they feel that they want to support this project of Nanogas Environmental, or if they are entrepreneurs wanting to learn more about you or from you. Please share how they can reach out to you.
So for Nanogas Environmental, it's nanogasenvironmental.com. You can contact me from there. You can reach out to you can connect with me on LinkedIn. It's just Len Bland. For Concept Equity Group, it's conceptequity.com. We run periodic meetings where we have entrepreneurs pitch to investors. We coach them on their information before we have them present. And that is that is Business Network Chicago. It's bnchicago.com if you want to apply for that. So happy to talk with you. And things are I'm most focused on moving Nanogas Environmental forward as quickly as possible. So if it's something else, it may take me a little longer to get back to you, but happy to connect.
Yeah, thank you so much for being here today as a guest on my show, sharing your insights, your wisdom, and hope to speak with you soon again.
All right. Thanks, Swanette. Talk to you soon.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye.
Subscribe now and be part of an amazing movement that is revolutionizing industries, protecting our planet, and is driving humanity towards a thriving and better future. Together, let's break business boundaries and ignite positive innovation. Join us today.